be doing Unit 1, Notes 3. So we are going to be talking about slope-intercept form. So to start off with, slope-intercept form is simply y equals mx plus b. The y and the x are always going to be in the equation, simply because that represents how we're graphing it. However, m and b are usually replaced with a number. M is going to be replaced with the slope of your line, and b is going to be replaced with the y-intercept. So what is the slope? Well, the slope can be calculated a couple of ways. The first way that the slope can be calculated is simply as rise over run. How much we're going up and down, and how much we're going over. It's also known as change in y because remember that the y-axis is the up and down one, so that represents our rise. Change in x-axis is the horizontal one. So you can also take a look at your slope if we're talking about actual points. So if we have a point x1, y1, and x2, y2, you can calculate out the physical slope of the line by using the formula y2 minus y1 is equal to, or divided by, x2 minus x1. The y-intercept is the point that is going to cross the y-axis. Again, the y-axis is the up and down one. It also represents the y value where x is equal to 0. So when do we use slope-intercept form? Well, slope-intercept form is primarily used to graph linear equations. So that's what we're going to be working on to start off with, is simply graphing linear equations. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at number 1. So for number 1, we want to simply put this into slope-intercept form. Well, remember that slope-intercept form is y is equal to mx plus b. Okay, remember m is your slope. Well, my slope is -2, so the y will stay there, and I'm simply going to substitute in -2 in place of my m and keep my x there. And my y-intercept is that b is equal to 2, so instead of writing b, I'm going to write 2. So this is the slope-intercept form given the slope and the intercept. Same thing for number 2. The y stays in there, and instead of writing m, I'm going to write 4/3 in place of the m, and again, keeping the x there. And then my slope is going to be a -4. So you can write the slope, or the intercept in two different ways. You could write it as -4, or if you're more comfortable, you could also write it as plus a -4 when you substitute in that intercept. It's really up to you. Now let's take a look at, okay, let's say we see a line and we need to put it into slope-intercept form. Well, when we see a line and it asks us for the actual slope-intercept form, what we need to do is figure out the slope and the intercept. Well, here's a point. So I want to figure out where next is going to cross a corner, and that's right here. So in order to get there, I want to figure out my rise over my run. So I'm going up 1, 2, 3, and over 1, 2. So my slope, or my m, is going to be up 3 and over 2. Now my y-intercept is where I cross the y-axis. So the y value that I cross the y-axis at is -2. So my b is -2. And now I can put that in the equation. So I have y is equal to 3/2 x, because that's my slope. And then you can do plus a -2 or -2. Do whatever you're comfortable with. It means the same thing. So let's now take a look at this one over here. So we know there's a point right here, and the next time it crosses the corner is where the next point's going to be. So the next time it crosses the corner is right there. So what we're doing is we're going down 2 and right 3. Now here's something that's really important to remember. Whenever you go down or you go left, both of those represent negative numbers. Okay, so since we went down, my slope is going to be a -2, and then it's going to be over 3. So now I want to figure out where I'm crossing the y-axis. Well, on this one, it doesn't give us a specific point, so I'm going to count up from the origin. The origin is right here, and I see that, boop, I'm going up 1. So my y-intercept is 1. So now we can put this into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to put my slope here, and then I'm going to put my intercept. And that's my final answer for number 4. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at number 5. Well, number 5 wants us to graph the following equations. So what I do when I'm graphing, the first thing I do is I figure out what my y-intercept is. So here I see that it's 4. So I'm crossing the y-axis at 4, which is right here. Then my slope is -3. Well, -3 is the same as -3 over 1. I am going down 3 and right 1. So I don't want to go left 1 because left is negative. Since my 1 is positive, I'm going to go right 1. So I'm going down 1, 2, 3, and then right 1. And I'm plotting that point. And again, I can connect those 2 points to make a line with arrows on either side. So let's take a look at number 6. So for number 6, our y-intercept is -2. So we're crossing the y-axis at -2. Now I see that my slope is 2, which is the same as 2 over 1. Okay, since both of those numbers are positive, I'm going to go up 1, 2, and over 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and I am going to connect those lines. Now hopefully you draw a lot more straight lines than I do because that was terrible. Now right now I'm going to make a suggestion to you. I'm going to suggest that you get your worksheet from me and that you complete problems 1 through 6 on the practice sheet. You want to get slope-intercept down before you move on in the note sheet. So do 1 through 6 on the worksheet and then we'll finish up the note sheet in a part 2 video. Thanks for listening.